Welcome to the Sweetspot Podcast, where we're all about helping players, coaches, and parents get the most out of the game. Whether you're stepping up to the plate, coaching from the dugout, or cheering from the stands, we got you covered with expert tips, strategies, and insights to make youth sports a better experience for everyone. Each episode, we'll share our own experiences and bring on special guests who will offer valuable advice on skill development, teamwork, and creating a positive environment for growth both on and off the field. So let's dive in and make the game even sweeter.
Play ball!
Welcome to the Sweetspot Podcast. Here we are, finally made it with you for the first time, first episode. This has been a journey. We've been at this for 8 months. We're grinding. Never the right time for us until now. Perfect timing. Glad to have you guys as our audience. Welcome to the show. I have my man Albert with us. I'm Daylan. Happy to have you guys.
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
Whose idea was it to put these mics in our face?
In our face, yeah. I think that's how it works.
So we're off.
We are off, man. It's been, 8 months in the making?
8 months and a lot of different bumps on the road, a lot of different...
Listen, I will tell you this. If we would have started this 8 months ago, we definitely would have not been where we're at now.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So a matter of being at the right place at the right time in this beautiful studio. Couldn't be happier, couldn't be prouder of our achievements in the last 8 months. I think we've learned so much from, where we started, what we wanted to do at the beginning, to now having a base that I think everybody in, all of our fans will be able to enjoy. And we want to welcome them to this beautiful journey. Beautiful journey we have set forth, and today's our first day. So hope you enjoy it. Hope everybody enjoys it.
We got a lot to get to, a lot to talk about. We want to make sure that everybody knows why we're doing this, how we got to where we are today, and at the end of the day, it's most of it is for the kids, for the parents. Maybe there's even some coaches out there that could benefit from some of the things that we have to say. And, we're not gurus at all. All I know is that I know nothing, a lot of the things are going to be as we go, and nothing is going to be scripted. Even the guests that we bring on, we may be able to get some really good ones. And sometimes we'll have our own players in the studio, which will be fun.
I think the best way to describe it, we're not going to be Thomas Edison's.
Nope.
But we are going to fail, right? And we're going to bring everything to life. I think it's not going to be as sweet as many other podcasts make it out to be. We're going to, this is an experiment for us, an experiment that we want to encounter. We want to be able to provide to everybody, because we know that failure is part of the eventual success. So that's why we're here. We're going to drive into the nitty gritty, all the good stuff, the bad stuff, everything in between, because we know that that's what it takes. That's what it takes to bring youth baseball experience to the best of its abilities, to bring out, the best journeys for us as coaches, as parents, as we're going through it, make sure that the kids enjoy their journey as much as possible. And that's what it's all about. We don't want anybody to quit the game because of bad coaching or bad parenting or just a bad experience, and that goes on pretty often. Right? So
especially in down here, and and I mean, again, this is because we love the game, and this podcast is for people that absolutely love the game, or that are getting into baseball, into youth sports as well. And we want to be able to, give them as many tips based on our own experience and what we're going through at the moment. So, question for you.
Go ahead.
How did you end up sitting here today? Where did tell the people where this started?
So I, on a personal level, I have 4 kids. So this is a journey that I'm gonna go through with my kids as a parent and as a coach. So that's the unique part of it. I know, Albert, you're a dad as well, and you're helping me through this process as well of coaching these kids like if they're our own, which we do. I think that's the most beautiful part of it all. But ultimately, you know, baseball and youth sports is taking us, it's been like a roller coaster, right? Falling in love with the game at a very young age, understanding that, you know, it just takes so much, you know, teamwork. I think there's an analogy there with baseball and life, and that's what everybody should take out of that experience, that journey, and never take the beauty out of it all. Because ultimately, you know, even though we've had the roller coaster of playing youth sports, playing in high school, playing in college, and then all of a sudden kind of forgetting about the game because life got in the way, it's brought us back to here, right? And now we're starting this journey with these amazing, beautiful kids, with these great parents we have. And man, I wouldn't change that for the world. It's been just so exciting. I didn't think it was going to be this great, by the way. At all.
When you called me, I mean, I had been out of baseball for probably 15 years. And this all started on my end. This all started when my brother here reached out to me and he's like, hey, I'm coaching 10U at the time, right?
10U at the time.
And
come
there's
watch
a game.
A good baseball game.
He's like, you know, there's a game today. You want to come watch some good Little League baseball? And I was like, okay, I'll go. And within 15 minutes of getting to the field, I was already in the dugout and we were coaching. And
that was it. Yeah, that was it.
And then combine that with, you know, some of our own mutual friends telling us, hey, you guys should do a podcast. So that's literally how we ended up here.
That's how it was. Fantasy baseball brought us together in a way, and now it's just a journey we've embarked in, and I don't see the end of it, man. No. I don't see the end of it. I'm excited for the future, and definitely the past has been a great one.
Yeah, man.
The short term past, right? So long term past. Talk a little bit about baseball when you were growing up, and you know, sports in general, if you want to do that.
Well, hang on. Before I answer your question, there's another reason why we started this podcast, and it's essentially there was nothing like this, nothing that resembled something like this out there. And as parents, which both of us are, there wasn't something that was set up for parents and kids and this platform, because we're combining a lot of different things. There was nothing like it. So just wanted to make sure that
I agree, man.
That's another.
I agree. It's you know, in looking at everything, it was hard to find. You have your people, you know, trying to teach baseball, give kids the adjustments, coach a little bit,
which we will. We'll touch up on
which
those.
we will. But everything, I felt like there was something missing, right? I think Miami and where we live and the culture that it has, there's just so much from, you know, whether you're Dominican or Venezuelan or Cuban or American, whatever. There's so much going on with parents, with coaches, with kids, and bringing all of that together. You know, living through that journey is something that we want to bring to life, because there's just really nothing out there, right? You're gonna get your other podcasts are gonna talk about, you know, ideas and tips and whether somebody wrote a book about something. No, we're gonna live it. We are definitely gonna live it.
And those are good podcasts.
Yeah, great podcasts. Don't take anything away from anybody and anybody that does this, because you know, not many people want to do it like we did, and now we're finally here, right? So that's what we want to do. That's what we want to do. We want to definitely provide everybody out there the best information, and whether it's failures or successes, we want you to know it. And again, whether it's now or you know, a week from now, we're gonna fail, right? And we're gonna bring that to life, and hopefully it helps somebody in their journey and how to perfect it and how to be a better, you know, father or coach along the way.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, baseball. I was born in Cuba, just like you.
Same.
And my dad is a huge baseball fan. And from the time that I was in diapers, 2 years old, I was playing baseball. And it's been part of me my entire life, and it's probably in my genetic code. Maybe one of my kids catches it. And I fell in love with the game very, very, very early on. And one of the most vivid, images that I have of my relationship with the sport was walking into the stadium in Camagüey, where I'm from, and the super green grass with the clay and the white chalk lines and the sounds of everybody. Like it was heaven.
Yeah.
So I came from Cuba when I was 10 in 1994, started playing in Miami, like, most of us did. And from there, high school, I went to 3 different high schools. Shout out to all of my coaches. In many ways, you guys are the reason why I'm here. And, went to St. Thomas before you got there. Played a little bit of independent ball after, and then I was out for 10, 12, 15 years, and then just like in that scene in The Godfather,
you back in.
pulled me back in.
Yeah.
And so now we're, embarked on this journey, and it's great. I mean, the teams that we have, the kids, it's a treat. It's a lot of fun. It really is.
Yeah, man. I could, when you talked about the grass and the clay and just the beauty of your imagination as a child, right? Like as a kid, when you see something like that kind of resonates with you, it's something that lasts forever, right? Like
forever.
Like the smell of leather for me,
Yep.
right? Like it's like smelling a ball. I could just go back and it feels like I'm there. It feels like I'm there, reminiscing on my childhood. And those are the small little things that, I know, I have them and you have them. So our kids are going to have them as well. But there's just so many different little details of us growing up. Part of the, some of the things that I kind of think about is all the people that we met along the way. Right. And it's just crazy in life. I'm a true believer in, you got to make relationships. You got to build relationships. You got to have friends everywhere you go. And I think baseball provides that opportunity. There's guys that I look at, that I see, that I haven't seen them in 20 years. And all of a sudden I see them and it's just this amazing joy. Cause I knew that, they lived that childhood with me, that bond that we had playing youth sports is something that nobody could take away.
Shout out to our producer,
Junior. So yeah, I mean, again, I hadn't seen Junior in forever. Run into him and it's like, hugs and kisses and like
picked up right where you left off.
Yeah, right where we left off. So, stuff like that always seems to happen. And then just
life puts, the people that come into our lives is, I'm a firm believer, it's for a reason. Yeah. At one point or another, that reason is revealed or you have a eureka moment. But everyone that walks into your life, it's for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's, those are the beautiful things that we've experienced in baseball. And I learned so much along the way. I didn't have the best resources like I imagine you did as well. I feel like I could have maybe done more, right? But at the end of the day,
you mean a broomstick and a cork is not the best way?
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Absolutely.
So now, I kind of grab some of those things, try to pass it on to my kids, give them a little bit more than what I had. And again, I won't change my life for anything. I didn't play Division I, but man, what I got out of where I played was amazing. Just some of the people that touch your life. Manny Mantrana, for example, he's no longer with us, but the guy was like my second father. Things that I experienced with him, I probably wouldn't have been the same with somebody else. So, just things that touch me, have touched me and made me the person that I am. And it's not always just your parents. It's just those people that touch you along the way. And I think that's the most important thing that I want to get out of all of this. I want in 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years from now, one of these kids that we have is, taps you on the shoulder and gives me a hug and says, "Coach,
thank you."
Yep. That's the most important thing out of all of it. and we've we'll get into kind of like what we want to do present tense and how we want to give this experience the most enjoyable experience ever to the kids, and how we want to mold that. But ultimately, the most important thing are these kids, right? They have to learn how to win, right? Like because it's part of the journey, but winning and losing ain't everything.
And we focus with them a lot on how to handle those failures, how to keep your head in the game, how to stay within yourself without getting, too crazy and doing things that you're really not supposed to or you shouldn't be doing. And with the parents as well, we're not here to tell anybody how to parent their kid. We're just going to be speaking from our own personal experience, and I know it's difficult, especially if you're a parent that is the coach of your own kid. That's tough.
Yeah. Why are you smirking when you're looking at when you say those things?
Because I know my people.
So that's exactly it, right? So we have, just so you guys know, we call them stable walls. There's 3 of them. If you want to form like kind of like a triangle, those stable walls have to be perfectly in line, perfectly in sync. If you throw a ball in the middle of them, they're gonna keep on bouncing if they are stable, and it's just gonna be repetitive. Nothing's gonna affect that ball continuing to bounce. Now, if one of those walls is not correct, is
weak or
off center or something like that, that ball is going to bounce differently, and you're never going to get that same result. So, with that being said, those stable walls, one of them is coaching and parents, right? Like we want to make sure that, if you're out there, you have the right coaches, your parents are the best, most productive parents that you could be out there. Because we don't want those experiences with parents and with coaches to affect or hinder anything else that the kid has to go through, or any of their development, which is that second wall, right? We want to, that athletic development is very important. Like that's what we want to also bring forth, right? There's kids that we know develop differently than others. They take a little longer to develop. Some of them, at 11, 12 years old, they're bigger. And we know that everybody has their path, their athletic path. But we want to make sure that we support and we help these kids out, whether you're starting the game late, whether you started early and you have a different track record. We know that, the development path is not linear. There's always going to be ups and downs. And we're there for it. We're there for it for every kid, and every kid is going to be different.
And we want to be there for the parents as well, because I know that it could be a little intense or exhausting or frustrating even to see some other kids on the team or different teams develop earlier than your own kid. And we're here to tell you it's okay.
Yeah.
Just because you're not an all-star at 10, 11, 14 doesn't mean that,
time is very crucial. Understanding the time you have, the times that you don't have time, right? That's part of the experience that I'm going through right now as a parent, having different kids at different age groups.
But you gotta enjoy it. You gotta enjoy every phase of it.
You do have to enjoy it.
Absolutely,
you have to enjoy it, because that's all you have, right? Like once there's always a time for everything to end, and that time will come for everybody,
for all of them,
for all of us. So when you look back on it, it's, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy it? And a lot of people don't. A lot of people have regrets, and that's what this podcast is all about. Like helping you eliminate those regrets when it's all said and done. Whether your kid made it to the big leagues, or whether he quits tomorrow, right? Making sure that however long that journey is, it was a good one, and it doesn't affect your relationship as a parent with your child, because a lot of them do. And that leads us into that last wall, right? Like that last wall is that character building wall, which I said, at the end of the day, what we want is to build the best men and women that those kids could eventually become. Whether it's learning how to win as a team, there's always a time and a place to be an individual, right? To succeed as an individual.
Dealing with the failures of the game.
Dealing with the failures. Making sure that they're good leaders, that they're good with their teammates, that they respect, that they have some sort of continuity and consistency with the way that they hold themselves and hold each other accountable, holding themselves accountable, making sure that there's, they don't have excuses for anything, because that's just the way life works. And that's ultimately what we want. And we know that if we have all those walls secured and stable, the journey's just going to be that much better for parents, for everybody. Right? So that's how we want to make youth sports a better place. Use this as an experience, as our experience, because I definitely will tell you that I've had a lot of failures, and I will continue to have them, and I admit that, and I will present them. And there's nothing wrong with it as long as you continue.
Did baseball help you? Because it's definitely helped me. Did baseball help you deal with life failures outside of the game?
Absolutely. But I think life failures in general is one thing. Failures as a parent and how do you parent? There's no book for it. There's really, you could read a ton of books and make the best of it, but every kid's gonna be different. Every situation's gonna be different. Their path to just a regular normal life, whether it's health, whether it's sports, whatever it is always going to be different. It's never going to be the same for every single individual. But we want to dive into that, right? Like, cause I mean, we talked about it. We have kids in our system that, single parent, single mom, a parent has passed, they're adopted. And that's part of, all those little details, all those little things that make that person's journey and that person's life unique and different, is special to them. But there's so many people out there that have been successful, with all those things, being present. There's guys in the major leagues. You look at Aaron Judge, adopted, right? Like there's everybody has been able to encounter success. Not everybody, but a lot of people have been able to encounter success no matter what their journey was. Right. And that's the light we want to bring out. Make sure that everybody understands and knows, hey, there's a path, right? Like, for as dark as my life looks right now, I could only imagine that losing a parent is one of the hardest things growing up. And a lot of people, that they've experienced that. But out of all that darkness, there is light at the end of the tunnel.
This too shall pass, as they say.
This too shall pass, right? So being able to, provide that, giving them information on people that have gone through success, having gone through the things that they're going through right now, is very, very important. And we'll find it. We wanna. We're
gonna be bringing on a lot of
guests, whether it's helping them in their development, whether it's nutrition, whether it's working out, the right time to start working out.
We're going to be touching up a lot on the mental side of the game as well.
Mental side, parents as well, right? Like the mental side and the development side for the parents to understand what's right and what's wrong. There's a lot of people out there, I feel, from my experience and the things that we've seen, they kind of want to go with the flow, but they don't have actual goals, right? And some,
or a guide.
Yeah. Like, people they want a lot, but at the end of the day, when you ask them what is it that you want, they'll be like, I don't know. Is it ideal to tell them that, to say that you want their kid to be in the major leagues? A lot of people don't admit it, but we know a lot of people think it, right? Like, it's normal. And those experiences, and we've lived it. We've grown up with guys that you look at them at, from 6 to 14, and they're like the best baseball players ever, and they don't make it. Whether it's an injury, whether it's
got burned out, or
they got burned out, or they got a girlfriend, or just life took them in a different direction. Just so many different things that could affect what happens in their own journey. And we want to make sure that it is proper and it is guided in the right way.
What was your journey like? Go ahead.
So my journey was great. Other than, the not ideal, which I wouldn't change for anything in the world, having kids when I was in college. But that was my journey, right? And at the time I had preemies at 20 years old, and that's how my life started. But it is what it is. That here's where I am right now.
And they're great, by the way.
My daughters are 17 years
Phenomenal.
old. And that's part of the situation that I want to go through and talk about, right? That aspect of time, right? Like my girls, as you know, super athletic, play all the sports in the world, which we encourage. But ultimately, there's come a time where they're good, right? Like they're good at all these sports, but they haven't really tapped into
that specific
skill. So when is it the right time to do that, right? And I feel like we're at the point where we're running out of time, right? Like juniors in high school, and again, they'll try out for anything and they'll make it because they're just really athletic. But what is that right path for them? Did I go wrong in pushing so many different things but not being specific on one? And again, it happens to a lot of parents as well, right? Like we don't know how to relate to girls, and we didn't, as much as baseball and softball correlate to an extent, we don't know, right? Like and
it's
male,
different.
it's a different dynamic, right? So understanding that, I mean, my wife never played sports really, so understanding that there's a difference between male, female, and our relationship with it.
Well, I want to go back to you saying that, if like you feel like you may have messed up or done them wrong by pushing different sports, and I don't see it that way at all. For you or for anybody in general, like everybody's path is different, and you've helped mold a life into a better version of themselves, because I really do believe that sports guides you towards being a better version of yourself. And as a parent, you got to give yourself credit, and your wife Laura as well, credit to both of you, because it's a lot, and you guys have been able to balance. I don't know how they do it.
I don't know either.
I mean, it's insane. But you've been able to balance 4 lives, and all 4 of them are driven, disciplined, organized, athletic. Like, you got to give yourself some slack, and at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure there's parents out there as well that are like, that I do right by my kid by, telling them, no, you're not going to play baseball year round, soccer, like football or golf or swimming or rowing or whatever it is. Just enjoy it, man.
Yeah.
Enjoy the ride.
Absolutely.
My 7-year-old told me last year, 8 months ago, basically looked at me in the eyes and he said, "Papi, I don't want to play baseball anymore." And that's okay.
Yep.
Immediately I asked him, "What do you want to play?" And he said soccer. 2 weeks later, he was playing soccer. For me, in all of this, there's 3 things, and they're the 3 A's to me that are imperative: academics, athletics, and arts. You got to do something in all 3, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. All 3. Whether you want to play the flute, play the violin, be a percussionist, paint like Da Vinci, but you got to play a sport.
You're an awesome painter, by the way.
Man. We're not all as artistic as you are.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, we'll show him some clips and pictures and stuff. That was not okay. I'll get you back. Man, you got to give yourself some credit, and kids will make their own decisions, and it's okay. We don't need to be their SAR 24/7. You got to give them some leniency. But you're well on your way for creating and molding 4 beautiful lives, man. So
thank you, bud. Thank you. Again, it's just I'm relating to what the audience is going through, right, and what they go through, because it's, again, I'm not going to shy away from it. I go through it as well, right? I feel like my time is running out with the girls, right? Like they'll soon be out of the house. They'll be in college. All these things that pop into your mind. And then you start, looking back, and you're like, did I do something wrong? Did I not? Did I, and that's part of the journey. That's part of what we want to bring to life. And then my other boys are, they're kind of starting. So I know that I have time with them. And it's funny because having gone through that experience with my girls that are almost 17, I look back and I see people struggling with time with their 10, 11-year-olds. And I'm like, whoa, this is not normal,
Yep.
right? This is, you have time, right? So it's, it's everybody has their path, and we want to just wish them all the best. Wish them, all the success in the world. Make sure that they're happy with what the result ends up being. So hopefully they listen to the podcast and they use our experiences to learn for their own. I think that with my life, I've always done a good job in trying to learn from other people's experiences, right? I didn't have to go through it myself. To know what was right and what was wrong, or to make my judgment of it and make the best of it, knowing, hey, my buddy took this path, I don't want to take it, right? So that's part of what we want to bring to life out here with the podcast. And again, we're gonna have amazing guests. We're gonna do, we're here in Miami, so we want to do something a little different. Hopefully we're talented enough to be able to do these interviews in Spanish and English. I don't think we could exceed those two languages, but
No, that's
I think it's gonna bring to life other cultures, which is what we want. We want to make sure that everybody's engaged, because whether it's baseball or any type of sport, the culture really matters, right? If you're a Japanese baseball player, the way you're brought up, the way you play the game is different than an American baseball player. You're from the Caribbean, Venezuela, like we discussed, any Latin country, Mexico, even Nicaragua, Colombia, everybody has baseball players, baseball talent. But your upbringing and how you were taught the game, and it deviates, right? The game is still the game, right? It's still, you got to get 27 outs, start 0-0, visiting team, home team. Some things never change, right? But there are certain things within the culture of each generation, if you want, or country, it is slightly different, and we just want to explore that.
And
we
want to explore that. Evolving
we want to explore that, and the upbringing, again, from somebody that was born and raised here with food, AC, is might be a little different than somebody in another country where they don't have certain privileges,
food or AC,
right? So those are the types of things that we want to tap into. See how a life of difficulty, which ends up becoming successful within baseball, how much that difficulty affected
their
that end game,
and
that end game.
Hopefully we'll have guests from all of these different areas.
Oh, we will.
We also want to bring on agents, to get their feedback, high school coaches as well, college coaches, so that the players and the parents get a little guidance and a little taste for what they're looking for and what makes the players stand out, and how to get them to the next level.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sport. Youth sports, any sport is beautiful. It's and again, when you get to that next level, high school, college, to enjoy it. I mean, I enjoyed the heck out of it, and I didn't go Division I, right? So just getting that experience, being able to do it.
Now that you mentioned Division I think now more than ever, parents and players should understand that it doesn't matter if you don't go Division I. To be honest, what matters is that your butt's on the field, and you're getting reps, you're getting in-game opportunities, and you're developing yourself as an athlete, as a baseball player on a regular basis. And at the end of the day, I believe that a lot of D1 coaches, if there's a player out there that already has a couple of years of, JUCO or NAIA or D2, D3, they're going to be willing to bring them to their program, So the end game is not, as a high school player, the end game is not D1 or bust. Everybody has a different path.
And we say that from experience. I mean, those were best years of your life, So if, everybody to each their own, whatever they want to do, but don't be scared to play, something other than, unless you play Division I, you're not gonna. No, man, that life is too beautiful. You get to meet so many different people, and again, if your goal is to play Major League Baseball, how many people have made it to Major League Baseball without having played Division I? A ton of them. So continue living your dreams if that's what it's all about. Push to the end, believe in yourself.
How many major leaguers weren't the best player on their high school team? A lot of them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a matter of, committing to a path. If you have conviction on where you want to be and where you see yourself, it's a matter of, committing to it. And at the end of the day, when you have the tools, the proper tools, which the tools are here, they're available to everybody. You get me? Because we're not in a different country everything's here. If you commit to it and you grind and you have grit and you are able to, prioritize your development, your growth physically, mentally as an athlete, you'd be surprised, and even for the late bloomers, we have a couple of guys on our team a few guys they're going to be late bloomers, keep going. Mm-hmm. You never know. Mm-hmm. Once the body matures and you're able to now drive that ball instead of just over the second baseman's head, now you're hitting it in the gap. And now instead of running a 7-1, you're running a 6-7 or a 6-6. Even if it took you 23, 24 years to get to that point,
And we will dive into all those things, dissect everything. I think that's a wrap, man. I think I loved it. Had a great time with you. Couldn't have done it with anybody better.
Awkward handshake. Or?
Boom. Yeah. So
that's for hobby.
Listen, hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. This is what we got for you. Come back next week and we'll have a good little show for you.
Episode 2 is going to be interesting. Should be a lot of fun.
Should be a lot of fun. Should be a good one. So thank you guys for everything and see you soon.
So I wanted to let you guys know that the reason we're doing this is because we want to provide a phenomenal product for you. And the best way that you could help us get to that point is by liking and subscribing, participating and letting us know, giving us your feedback. And if there's a type of guest that you want us to interview, if there is some type of questions that you want us to add, anything that can make us or that will make us better, by all means. And the best way is liking and subscribing.